Welcome back, guys. It is our weekly wrap here for our senior man. We are going to kickstart with our championship band here. We had the 5 games across the weekend, and we're going to start with a massive game over at GSAC. We had McKinnon fall to Wyndham 121 to 88. Now, Mark, no Sharif Black, which makes a bit of a difference.
Yeah, I think McKinnon are pretty much they're struggling a little bit at the moment without having Sharif Black, and the problem is it's the wrong time in the season to struggle because I think they're in that 6th position and trying to push into that top 5. But when your best scorer's not around, it's making things difficult.
Yeah.
For Wyndham, Maurice Howard just had an absolute field day, 41 points, and Mitch Barry was chasing him around all day and did his best, but Maurice Howard's not an easy man to stop, Ted.
No, he's really not. Keysborough got the win at home over Melbourne University, 92 to 82. I believe, as you said before, that they have gotten all 3 wins over Melbourne Uni across the season.
Yeah, I believe they do. I saw them play at when it was at Melbourne Uni in their second time they played them, and it is a really close battle each time, but it just seems like Keysborough have the wood over them. And I say Geethers has come into some really good form. He finished with 27 in this one to go with 8 rebounds. But the likes of Anthony Williams, Calvin Ainge, Jared Newby, they piece it together pretty well as a unit.
Absolutely. Shooting 43% from the land of plenty obviously helps as well.
Yeah, that's certainly Nathan would be pretty happy as coach with them shooting that percentage.
No doubt. Camberwell got the win over Bellarine away from home down in Drysdale, 94 to 83. Pretty good game there. We had Keysborough also get the win again, 2-0 for the weekend away from home against Sunbury, 84 to 118. Huge weekend for them as they they're still solidifying themselves in finals, I guess you could say.
Yeah, a 2-0 weekend, and in a weekend they would have probably been happy to split with Melbourne Uni and Sunbury, both being really good teams. They just scored at will against Sunbury. Sunbury just didn't have an answer defensively. It was Anthony Williams' show with 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, and he shot well from deep, 4 of 7 from the 3-point line. And for Sunbury, while Sanders did his thing and Barkley sort of got himself going a little bit, it probably struggled for that third key cog, which is usually Trevon Clayton, who I believe may have injured himself, which is a shame.
Yeah, absolutely. Blackburn got the win in a massive scoreline. This is ridiculous. Listen to this, guys. 114 to 107 Western Port.
Yeah, Western Port are usually involved in some pretty high-scoring affairs. I'm not sure, as we spoke about earlier in the season on team defense, theirs was a little bit of a struggle. But yeah. Daryl Corletto, a huge 52 points, and quite efficient, if you don't mind, 68% from the field, Ted.
Yeah, that's outrageous. To go with his 5 rebounds and 5 assists, he only turned the ball over, 4 times. So in a situation like that, where you have the ball that much, yes, you're not really passing it because you have 52 points. If you're that high, you're going to keep shooting the ball.
No, why would you bother?
Absolutely.
And fouled off as well, so he could have got even more.
He could have.
He was in a bit of foul trouble.
Yes, he could have. But no, I mean, Blackburn did a very good job. They have 4 of their 5 starters finishing double figures. D'Agostino.
Dagger. Come on, Ted.
Came off the bench with 12 points. Dylan Ryburn came off the bench with 16 points in his 18 minutes. So a lot of contributors there to their massive score line.
Yeah, I think that's 2 on the trot for Blackburn as well. So they'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to Division 1 men now. Shepparton got the win away from home over at Gippsland, 67 to 78. Gippsland just didn't have that, I wouldn't say efficient night, but they just didn't have that elite scorer there.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, when they're sometimes they do it by committee and they do it really well, and there's a good spread of scorers, whereas there's other nights where their main scorer's got 11 points and you just need somebody to go to at important moments, and they just don't seem to have that. Ben Barlow's been a bit quiet in recent weeks. Jordan Canavan sort of chipping away and getting it done, but they'd be wanting to find a scoring weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we move on because RMIT had an insane game here against Coburg. They did get the win 91-68, but it was Steve Coffey who just went completely nuts again. Not just points. He had 19 points, which is pretty respectable in his own element. But he had 14 rebounds and 16 assists, 2 steals.
Yeah,
that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a huge game for him, and I think that's 2 on the trot where he's just had a huge triple-double. So he may all of a sudden earn himself a little feature on the Big V website there, Ted.
Yeah, possibly. I did pause there because I was going to keep talking because Daniel Steen combined as well with his 20 points and 10 rebounds, and Louis Agon had 20 points himself. So very, very good game between the 3 of those guys. Just were able to get it done a bit too easily over the Giants there. Bulleen got the win over Warrnambool. Quite an upset there, 86-71.
Yeah, Warrnambool is starting to look a little bit shaky at the wrong end of the season, Ted. I think their streak is currently loss, win, and they'll need to find some consistency if they want to actually be there at finals time. So, and well done to Bulleen, who come out this weekend with 2 wins.
Fantastic.
They're starting to find a little bit of form. They had a good spread of scorers, led by, I believe it might have been Evan Solakides, who's starting to put the ball in the hole consistently too. So
yeah, 100%. You said they did go 2-0 for the weekend, which is correct. They did beat Collingwood on the Sunday 93-74. So huge weekend for them as we move towards the last spurt of finals run. Shepparton lastly got the win over Warrandyte 91-69.
A 2-0 weekend for them as well sits them pretty on top. And they'll be sort of the championship favourites at this point.
Absolutely. Hopefully they can get over the line this year after a bit of a disappointing runners-up for them last year.
Yeah.
Moving on, Division 2 men here. Sherbrooke got the win 90-81 over Melton. Melton did pretty well there to keep it to 9 points.
Yeah, Melton are always in games. They're always competing. Liam Allison leads them. He's always flirting with a triple-double. And then you got, Soderholm and Tarrant. I think we had 3 guys in the starting 5 this week from this game. So whilst there was a fair few quiet members on the court, Soderholm, Tarrant, and Liam Allison all went nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Tarrant's the interesting one for me. He had 31 points in just over 22 minutes.
Well, there's no surprise he's usually a starter for them. Obviously, coach is trying to mix things up a little bit and change things up to try and get them winning towards the end of the season and make that push for that 5th position.
Yeah.
But, huge game for him.
Very, very much so. Now, we had 2 upsets here we're going to talk about. One you can argue is a little bit bigger than the other because of the margin, but the other one is just as much important. We'll touch on this first one here. Mildura were unable to get it done over Mornington. Mornington got the win 99-90 on the road. We know how hard this is to go all the way up to Mildura and get a win. So Mornington, amazing work to get this W.
Yeah, and I think it might be their third win on the trot. And Kieran McQueen and Brad Murfitt do their thing usually. I think they both had double-doubles, 20 and 10s. And then Andrew Kelly off the bench, I reckon he's the piece that needs to get some consistency if they want to keep pushing up the ladder and keep getting wins, because whenever he scores well, the team does well.
Just that nice spark.
Yeah, and he just needs to get a little bit more consistency.
100%. The other upset we have here is a pretty big one because Altona got the win over Whittlesea 97-96.
First loss of the season for the Pacers, unfortunately.
Huge.
So well done to Altona, led by Anderson with 23 points. Nick Patel doing it again with, I think, 15 points and maybe 11 rebounds or so. And, when they're on, Altona are incredibly good.
Absolutely. Wrapping it up here, Surf Coast got the win over Craigieburn 87-73. It was Elazar who had 19 points to go with his 10 rebounds. Conrad Cooper went for 11 and 19 rebounds. 13 of those were offensive. That's crazy.
Yeah, were they only his own shots, do you reckon? Or
possibly. Look, that'll be all for us today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. We'll speak to you soon.